What's going on? DJ Yoshi from New Jersey, born and raised in Jersey and New York. Currently the official DJ for Rutgers football and Rutgers basketball, Monster Cable, and recently signed as the official DJ of Status Vodka.
All right. So, how did you get into DJing?
It kind of fell in my lap when I was in 6th and 7th grade. My older brother was he was friends with other DJs, and he started DJing. So he left his equipment in the basement, and when he was out with his friends, I would sneak down into the basement and really just try to learn and teach myself how to mix, and through videos and listening to Flex on the radio. That's basically how I got myself into DJing and taught myself how to play.
All right. So, at what stage did you realize that you wanted to make it into a career for yourself?
It really didn't turn into anything. You know, it was messing around, and until I say my junior year of high school, that's really when I, started doing more and more things. Started doing clubs my junior year, touring with Pepsi and Hot Import Nights. That started in 1998 also. And, I was booked in a club three to four nights a week. So I figured that, hey, it's something that I love to do. I can meet girls, travel around, see different places of the country, and at the end of the day, the world, and, make money doing it. So I figured go as hard as I can at it, and I've been fortunate and lucky enough to end up where I'm at now.
All right. So how would you describe your DJing style?
Well, we're considered open format, and I've always played this way. I like to take bits of turntablism, whether it be scratching or, simple juggles through the night, and slam records, blend, whatever it takes in the night to make a transition into a song, or, do live remixes. Whatever it takes to make people say, oh shit, and, set myself apart from other people.
All right. Do you have a preferred genre of music to play, or you're just,
Yeah, I prefer to play reggae. I started out as solely a reggae DJ, and I didn't start playing hip hop until 2000. I was always a fan of hip hop, but I started out mixing house and reggae, and those are two formats that I still love to go back to and play strictly.
All right, so that's the genre that you prefer overall when it comes down to it, when you go doing different events and stuff.
Oh no! I mean, when it comes to different events, I'll play anything from, if I'm at the stadium, then I have to play a little bit of rock, a little bit of classic shit. Of course, hip hop for the players, and house music for the fans. But when I'm in my car and I'm just me, I'm listening to either classical music, reggae, or R&B.
All right. So if you had to pick your all-time favorite song, what would that be?
Holy shit. Oh my God. It would probably be Bob Marley, Redemption.
Redemption? All right.
Yeah.
So, and unspent, when it comes to DJing, if you had to pick a song that you think is a timeless classic song that can work it pretty much at the stadium or during a party, what song would that be?
It would probably be a Party Break by Fat Man Scoop for over Love Like This.
All right. So
it's one of those timeless Crooklyn Clan party breaks.
All right. So how's it different from when you're DJing in a stadium compared to like a club?
Well, the main difference is there is no one target demographic for a stadium. You have fans as young as 2 years old to fans as old as 80, 90 years old. So you really have to be a true open format cat that can touch anything, like even country music has to be played at a stadium at some point or some level. And you have to be able to fuse all that together while keeping the fans, the players, the coaching staff, and everybody within whatever organization you're playing for happy. At the end of the day, you're really there for the fans and players. So, with that in mind, I like to keep tabs with the players for whichever team I'm playing for, and also I utilize message boards for each of the team sports to find out what the fans want to listen to.
All right. So how was the transition from going into starting out doing DJing at like clubs and stuff into stadiums? How was that for you? Were you nervous at first or anything?
Oh, hell yeah. My first night was New Year's Eve for the New Jersey Nets back in 2003. And, from the time that I woke up that day till the last record that I played, I mean, my hands were shaking. I didn't know what to play. It was still during the time that I was using vinyl, and, this is before Serato and Tractor. So, like, my hand was shaking on the needles. I brought probably 30 cases of vinyl to have a wide range of music that I can play at the stadium. And, luckily it went off well, and the players appreciated what I did. The staff at the Nets, they were great, and it was great feedback from the fans, So from there, they wanted to expand my role as an MC also, and they basically put me in front of a camera and a microphone and said, all right, well, this is what you're going to do next. And, I've been able to take that, and now I'm actually more comfortable playing in front of a crowd of 55,000 people weekly than playing at a, smaller, intimate setting that's a nightclub.
Wow. So what's the difference between an MC and a DJ, and what's the similarities there?
Okay, yeah, I mean, for a stadium setting, like the MC skills for a DJ have and it's always been intertwined, but in terms of the MCing your show between a club and a stadium, it's completely different. Your pronunciation has to be on point. You speak at a slower pace to deal with the reverb and echo of the stadium and the acoustics within the stadium or the arena. And you really can't scream into a mic like you can. There's a big difference with interacting and being able to connect with the crowd. Like when you're at a club, you can look people in the eyes when you're on stage or you're in the DJ booth, versus being at a stadium, you really can't look at 55,000 people the same way. When I'm doing it, they basically have me staring into a video camera, and that was a hard transition because when you can look at people in the eye, it helps you to be able to justify your point, communicate, show energy, and when a red light on a camera is on, it's not the same as being able to look at people. So that's the major difference that I found, and still find today. But luckily enough, I've been able to get comfortable behind it.
Did you have to learn any audio engineering skills or anything when you got into working in stadiums and stuff?
I've always taught myself how to do it. I actually went to school for it when I was younger in high school. One of the classes was audio engineering at my high school, so I learned production, MIDI, and at the time it was really before Pro Tools, so we were using a digital performer. So I've been lucky enough to have learned that when I was younger, and some of the programs we've transitioned out of, but for the most part, I'm still using the same stuff. I'm still using the Sony suite. I'm still using the same mastering tools. And once you learn one audio workstation, it's easy to move to another audio workstation.
Do you think that new DJs that are just starting out, do you think it's a good idea that they actually take the time to learn audio engineering, even though it may not be necessarily what they're doing?
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot easier now that people can go out and, spend $400 on a little MIDI box or a little audio interface and have Pro Tools. When we first started that you had to spend $3-4 grand on a digital recording machine. So these days it makes it easier, and just being able to lay down a demo properly and know how to master it so it sounds right whenever it's popped into the CD player. The biggest pet peeve that I have when I listen to DJ or artist demos, it just doesn't sound clean. A lot of people just have their vocal track on loud, the instrumental on loud, and they just compress the shit out of it, and it just doesn't sound right. So if everybody took the time to master their mixes, master their tracks properly, even just starting out, it makes that much bigger of a difference.
There's been a lot of articles I've been reading lately, and like different music blogs and stuff that talk about that. They're saying now they have like audios. A lot of the audio is not as clean and cut as like probably before, where songs were more mastered. Everything is compressed down into MP3 formats, and a lot of the sound is being lost and stuff. So how do you feel about the transition in with music? Do you think that the digital age has kind of had a negative effect on music production?
It's been a positive and a negative. I've been a fan of the digital age as far as, anybody can really afford to do it these days. You spend a few $100s on the programs, you learn how to use them, and you can find dope producers that way. Before it was too expensive for people to really learn how to produce. You had to spend $2 grand on an MPC, spend another $3 grand on more rack equipment, spend another $2,000 to $4,000 sometimes even on your synthesizer. So these days it's cheaper and it's easier for people to really produce, and that's what I liked about that. In terms of the quality of the music that's coming out, yeah, man. I mean, hearing people and the way that shit is mastered today versus the way that it was really mastered before with tube compression and the old school sound. It's like you lose a certain softness and quality to the music if it's all done digitally. So there are times where I still like to do stuff on vinyl. I still like to do stuff with my old tube amps and compressors and rack equipment versus the ease of doing it digitally.
Right. So I know before a lot of artists had to use like MIDI setups. Now a lot of people just using like USB. So how has your equipment that you use over the years has like changed?
It's man, before it used to be, I used to have a setup that had my 2 turntables into the mixer. From the mixer, I would go out into a rack board. From a rack board, you would have your different effects, maximizers, equalizers, all that, and then that would get pumped out into a digital recorder. And then, Yamaha came out with the O1V, which was an all-in-one workstation. So it kind of compressed all of that into one, and it had onboard effects and all that too. So I transitioned into that, and now everything is, I have a Mac. Mac hooks up with Serato into the mixer right into my Mac, a second Mac or a PC for whatever programs I'm using that day, and that's really what my entire setup is at home now.
All right. So do you do any like mixtapes and stuff like that with artists?
Mm-hmm. We still work with up-and-coming artists and established artists to do mixtapes. Now that I'm considered, more of a team or corporate DJ, We are working on corporate mixtapes, for music licensing and clearing and all that, so we can come out with official mixtapes of certain brands that I'm partnered with.
How would you describe the job of a DJ?
A 24/7 grind and heart attack. It's one big roller coaster ride. For those that are still on the come up, it's living paycheck to paycheck. There are times where I have a great month. From once football season hits, between clubs, football stuff, appearances, and then it comes into Fashion Week, and then Fashion Week rolls into holiday, and then holiday rolls into bowl season. I'm great, but then it's every DJ knows that once January hits, that's kind of a lull. So January, February is a little bit of a lull, and then March you finally pick back up, and then you slow down a little bit, and then you pick back up again. It's cyclical. So as long as you know how to manage your money, budget properly, and spread your projects apart, you're not going to get burnt out, and that's one thing that I see a lot of DJs today doing. They're getting burnt out, but if you're fortunate enough to be busy and you can capitalize on your demand, there is longevity in the game.
Right. How long do you think the average DJ, in the sense, how long do you think someone can actually continue DJing as a career before maybe transitioning to something else?
Well, it's kind of funny. Before it used to be like, you had the set plan, DJ, work at a label, and then go from there. These days it's like everybody just tries to do something at the same time, as far as being a DJ and producing at the same time, or being a DJ and A&R, running a label. It's they're all intertwined, because now it's and even before it's who you know, who knows you, and you can leverage that for bookings, and so now I think really people only DJ for like maybe 2 or 3 years, build that experience, and then try to jump to something else while still being able to DJ, but utilizing whatever they've jumped to help boost their DJ career.
All right. So how important is it for a DJ to brand themselves?
It's everything. Branding is 100% everything. From a marketing standpoint, if you have no brand, you have no identity, and without an identity, then what are club promoters and venue managers really booking you for?
If you had to give one tip to aspiring DJs on how to brand themselves, what would that be?
Probably market research. A lot of people are really all over the place, and they don't know where they want to be. So with the right research and using the right tools and connecting with their fans, they can figure out the avenue that they want to take, whether it be a career in sports, it be a career in corporate life, or just being a club or a radio DJ.
Right. So it's good for them to take the time and learn their demographic and more break it down and study and see what area they really want to work on.
100%, and at least that way they know where they can expand or where they have to grow in order to achieve that longevity or get to the next goal that they have set out for themselves.
All right. Do you see yourself still DJing in the next 10 to 20 years, or do you want to switch over to something else within like the music industry, or doing different kind of marketing aspect or something of dealing with music?
I'm always going to be involved with music. My realistic shelf life is probably another 5 to 10 years. Of being able to be relevant. I've been doing this since 1993, so I'm really coming up on 20 years in a few months, and we're transitioning production-wise and things like that. But the next big goal that I really do see is something in sports marketing.
All right. So if you had to give your opinion on the state of music right now, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel like the music is going? Like underground, mainstream, internet?
Um, the state is some good, some bad. There are portions of it that I love, and it's refreshing to be able to see, like, in terms of the house music production that's coming out. But then there are other things like where the hip hop's lacking. It's
All right.
people rapping about
Yeah.
the same shit. The, people rapping over the same beats, and to me, it's that part is boring. So, you know, um, with the resurgence and popularity of house music, um, it's that's the refreshing part to listen to. But in terms of hip hop, it's limited for me these days.
All right. So if you had to give you had to give like one tip to aspiring DJs now, what's you think the most important tip that you can give them from your experiences?
Network, network
Network.
properly. Yeah, don't kiss ass. There are a lot of people out there that are out there to kiss ass and play events for $150 for the night. Don't sell yourself short. It messes the game up for everybody else. It'll mess the game up for yourself. You know, Understood that you do have to go out. You do have to make the right connections, but you know, doing 6 hours at a club for $150 is it's basically whoring yourself out.
All right. So they should they should learn how to price themselves correctly so they don't really negatively have a negative effect on the whole DJ industry in a sense.
Right, right, right. Especially since people should really work on tiered pricing. And it is dependent on the market, but at least that way you don't get yourself trapped at being a $150 DJ for the next 5 years.
Anything you want to share with us before
No,
flagship?
I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for having me, and hopefully I can continue to provide some kind of insight for up and coming DJs and help artists and sports teams and the corporate entities that I'm tied to, produce bigger and better events and better sporting events.